Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture is titled The Red Rectangle Nebula from Hubble. So, what do we see here? Well, here we see what is known as the Red Rectangle Nebula for its unusual shape. Now, many things in astronomy look spherical. This has more of an hourglass shape. Now, that is likely because of a very dusty disk around the stars that are located at the center. It would be a donut shape or a torus, and that would then block material from expanding in upward and downward directions as we see them in our image today, and would tend to focus material out in the other directions. So we see that a lot of times where we see jets of material being expelled in certain directions, and it's because certain regions are confined and there's enough material there to prevent the uniform expansion, which is what we might normally expect, that things would expel outward in a spherical pattern. So here, because of the positioning, we get kind of an X shape here going through the central regions of this. Now, we can also see some rings within this as it moves outward. That tells us something about how these flows are developed and that they are not continuous and uniform, but they tend to burst out a little bit and form a ring, and then there might be a time when there's not as much material being expelled, and then you get a little less there. So the structures can tell us something about that. But one thing we really don't understand, at least yet, is the unusual color. Now, red is usually associated with hydrogen gas. That's not the case here. And the coloring is maybe due to hydrocarbon molecules. Now, those are interesting in that hydrocarbons are the building blocks of life like we have here on Earth. And we find that a lot of these molecules are able to form out in denser areas in space, and that the building blocks of life are very common. We find them within our own solar system in various places, including things like comets and asteroids. And we also can find them outside of our own solar system in other molecular clouds and other regions, such as the one we look at today. Now, what will eventually happen to this system? Well, we do know that it is a binary system at the center. And eventually one of those stars will become depleted of its fuel and will become a planetary nebula. So likely what we see now as a red rectangle nebula will turn into a planetary nebula, maybe in a couple million years. So something to think about what would eventually happen and what other objects that look like planetary nebulae now might have looked something like this in the distant past. As with any parts of stellar evolution and understanding how stars change, we only get a single snapshot with any given star. We don't get to watch it go through its life. The time frames are just much too long, even for the fastest lived stars, for us to really see any changes within a human lifetime. However, studying lots of different stars and at all different stages of evolution helps us to piece together the overall picture of how stars change, and the Red Rectangle Nebula may be one of those that helps us fill in some of the gaps in the understanding of stellar evolution. So that was our picture of the day, titled The Red Rectangle Nebula from Hubble. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be Jupiter-sized mess. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.